Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Cento Moving and Stores located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. It is Movified Mondays, everybody. And I am going all the way to the East Coast, a little bit down to the Florida, Central Florida, to a company called Cento Moving. And I'm lucky enough to have the owner with me today, Felipe Roque. Welcome to the episode. Welcome to the show.
Man, yes, thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure, and I'm excited to participate of that. I've been watching the Movified podcast on YouTube. I've watched a few of them. It's a pleasure and an honor to be invited to participate here and share a little bit of what I do and the stuff I do and etc. So again, it's a real pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to have you on the show. I find in any trade, you always think you know all the companies in your area, right? Like you kind of like, oh, okay, I know these guys, I know that guys. But then there's always this other moving company that comes into play, and you're like, I've never heard of them. You always know that, and I went on your website. You have a fantastic website. It looks good. He won't get blasted on our website episodes on Movified Wednesdays, so you can rest easy on that one. But what I did see is, and congratulations, you have won Best of Orlando of Moving Companies. I think, was it last year?
Yes, we got last year and we got 2022 as well. And it's an actual popular vote. So there's no way to buy yourself into the prize, which we know that sometimes it can be easy to win a prize that nobody knows. This is an actual weekly newspaper in Orlando, the biggest one. And it's an actual popular vote. But we actually got second place, not first place. But the first one, I believe it's due to their marketing and they have endless money to spend in marketing, which is Two Men in a Truck.
Okay.
Which we all know. Yeah, which we
Sure.
all know they are not the best, but they're probably the most well-known.
That's it. We'll pop some tires
Company.
later. Don't worry. We'll take them out. We'll take them out for
Yes.
2025. And it's also, if people are like, well, I got second place, or maybe even got third place. And to me, it's always a fantastic goal to get ahead, right? To get that first place. I am actually, and I'm going to give a shout out to Wade Sweikel. I'm right now just reading his book, Hometown Titan. If you haven't seen it, find it on Amazon. It's a fantastic book. It's great for, I want to say it's great for everybody. It really is. But it's always one of those books that you read it and you're like, oh, yes, this totally resonates with me. And I'm only like a couple chapters in. And one of the things he does talk about is, the excitement of, I believe it was like the Business Chamber Award, right? And it was a Covenant Award and trying to win this award. And, he always thought like, man, if I make it and I win that award, I know I've proved in the moving industry. And like yourself, and we kind of want to talk about, how long you've been in the business. These awards, especially in your hometown, in your home city, it totally means a lot. Because it's like this blood, sweat, and tears have finally paid off. It's what some people say, when they buy their first Rolex after finally making it. It's what some people say when they said, man, I finally paid off my house, because of all of the heavy work that I've done over the years. Tell me a little bit like about what made you get in the industry. Like, you guys are in Florida. How long you been around? How many trucks you guys running? Tell me a little bit about Cento.
So we are relatively small compared to many of the guys we see around. And I actually have a pretty unusual story, not exactly funny, but very unusual story, because I didn't found the company. I bought it. I acquired a company. The company is 11 years old, and it was founded, it's going to be 12 this year. But it was founded in 2011, and I bought it in, 2013, and I bought it in 2016, and as my way to immigrate from Brazil to the United States. So it's an investment visa. I had to make an investment in the country, of course, pay my taxes, employ a bunch of people, and so that allowed me to earn my immigration to the U.S. And I acquired a company. It was about, I would say, half the size maybe of what it is today. and we are running today 3 trucks only. And it was bigger. We used to run 4 trucks during the pandemic with the craziness with the pandemic and everything. So we had to downsize a little bit to stay above the water and not have to suffer what many moving companies are suffering during the downtime, right? But like I said, we are relatively small, and I'm super proud of it. From like starting out of nowhere, I didn't start from scratch. I didn't come from the industry. I was a marketing guy, executive. I used to have a desk job, 9 to 5 job before moving, and it was a completely different industry experience, everything new to me when I bought the company 8 years ago, right? Almost 9 years
Yeah, I
now.
can only imagine, it's a new country that you're living in. It's a whole new different venture. And we've talked about this on like the podcast that, being a moving company owner, you are touching on everything, whether it is the learning how to be an accountant, learning how to be like a hiring manager, HR, putting out fires, just everything you can think of within a business is encompassed. Like a mechanic we need to be, a stroller to cry on, like I mean, like the list goes on. A glorified babysitter sometimes to these adult children that we call movers, and complaining over who's got the better shift that day. So it's really intriguing to hear this. But what's also I found really interesting is when I was on your website, you guys have a YouTube video, kind of like info commercial on your site, which I think is
Yes,
fantastic. It's always important to have something like this on here, but you give the impression that you are much bigger than you are. Which is
that is
fantastic, and
true.
I like that about companies that will take that extra step, because to me it means two things. One, you're either doing it on purpose and you are hoping for the best, or that you have a drive down the line that you want to be the 5 to 10 million dollar company, and this is the goal to get there. Think big, aim big, and manifest that goal.
Yes, and most of the companies my size, they are fighting for price, right? So they're trying to be the cheapest. They are struggling to get customers and etc. And I remember when I was giving the briefing to my website guys, to the advertising agency, like I said, I don't want to even hint that we are fighting for price that will come down to whatever price the customer needs. We are not selling price. We're selling peace of mind and trust, right? So you're hiring a small company that you can trust. Everything is on the table, all the licenses and insurances. We do everything transparently. I can provide COIs to whoever needs a COI. So we offer some of the benefits of the larger companies only can offer, and with the small structure, small overhead, and that allows us often to be cheaper than the bigger guy.
Hey, moving owners, if you're not at the top of Google, your competitors are taking the calls and book jobs that should be going to you. You're at war with them, and they are winning because they rank higher than you on Google. At Rotate Digital, we use the perfect blend of AI, secret blog networks, and moving industry SEO experts to make sure your business dominates Google in your area. We go to war online for you so that every Google search turns into your new customer and not your competitors. Stop losing to your competition and become the go-to moving titan in your area. Visit rotatedigital.com today to see who's outranking you and take the next step to booking more jobs from Google.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
Coming in to buying a company and a moving company and making this choice in 2016, what were some of the obstacles that you faced in the beginning, figuring out how am I going to run this business? What was some of the obstacles that you faced and how did you overcome them?
I remember as I was in the process of the due diligence with the company and I was talking to the owner, and I remember I used the expression, it can't be rocket science, right? To run a moving company, right? And I've been humbled so many times in so many different ways while trying to run a moving company, coming from a desk job, from a 9 to 5 desk job, that I can't even begin to tell you about it. And I remember there was even like a joke around, like with the mechanic and some of the guys, like how long do you think he's gonna last? And nobody even gave me more than a year. And here I am, almost 9 years. The company's twice the size. We are just awarded the second best company in Central Florida. So, like I said, I've been humble in many ways, but in the very beginning, I think the biggest hurdle that I had was with a broken truck. Right in the second, third month, I had to so many issues with one truck that we had, and we had two at a time, and I had so many issues with that truck that like had to swap engines, swap every single major part attached to the engine, like oil pump, turbo, etc., etc. I paid twice as much the value of that truck to get it fixed because it was a problem after another and after another and after another. And I had to learn, like you said, you got to be a mechanic. You got to learn. I had to learn very quickly what were the parts, the engine, why was something not diagnosed before, and why is it giving a problem now. So that was the biggest one right from the start, right from the get-go. Oh, and I had, well, at the time I had 3 movers employed, 3 guys employed, and one guy quit the second week. The one guy quit. Like you said, the glorified babysitter. Like he was just not prepared to have a different boss. And I said, you know what? I quit. So here I am on my second week as moving company owner, going to customers to fulfill the hole the guy left until I could hire somebody. And so it's a ride for sure. It's a roller coaster ride, and it ups and downs. But I couldn't be prouder of being here almost 9 years later.
Would you say, is there any tips or advice that you could give someone that be listening to it saying, I would love to be able to buy a small moving company or have this. I am listening to this Movified episode overseas. Hopefully you share it with all your family and friends out in Brazil, and we'll add some translation to it so they can totally understand it. And and it's like, what would that process be like? To avoid any things to avoid or tips to kind of speed up the process, or things to look for when you're looking at buying a company and as like your
Right.
career and
I think so. The biggest tip I would give, and I think it works for being an entrepreneur overall instead of just a moving company, but it's a completely different mindset. So if you're coming from an executive job at Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, a 9 to 5 job, you gotta be prepared from the get-go, even before you pull the trigger on buying a business or even starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur. Uh, from that moment on, you have no control of or very little control of your schedule, especially if you're small. So you are on call. And I use these example with my wife to this day, like that. There's sometimes I feel like I'm a doctor, like I'm a brain surgeon on call. That at any given point, whenever there's a job happening, I may get a call that changes the course of my day and the course of my week and etc. So if you're my recommendation would be, if anybody's interested in starting a business or buying a small business, especially in the moving industry, that jobs can go overnight, etc. So be prepared, change your mindset before you jump in, because the business will take you for a ride for sure. That there's no way around it. You don't even know how yet, but it will take you for a ride, and you got to be prepared.
Moving companies, you know referrals are the best leads, right? But communicating with customers, tracking progress, managing payouts, it's just overwhelming. That's why at Snowball, we do it all for you. And we're really good at it. In fact, in just a few months, the Snowball platform helped JK Moving generate over $200K in new revenue. We even helped New City Moving book 30 moves in a single month. If you have happy customers, we can get you referrals. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get the first 2 months on us.
Now, thank you for this. I like it. It's great advice. When you took over the company, was there a CRM in place? Was there anything kind of being like, okay, there's some things in place at least to keep, like, the Monday I show up after buying the company can still run. What were things that were in place, and what were things that you wanted to fix right away?
Yes, there was a CRM in place, and it was a very I would say rudimentary CRM, but it was in place. And one thing I liked a lot about that CRM is that I could the marketing portion was already automated from the get-go. Everything else was kind of here and there, but at least I could automate the marketing. So the messages I was sending to the customers to follow up, etc. I could do that from the beginning, and I think that was a great thing to have from the beginning, because otherwise I would probably not have uh, done or perfected it from the beginning. But one thing that I wanted to fix from the minute I started was the marketing portion, right? So how we presented ourselves to the market. And I remember when I was talking to the marketing to the agency guys about the logo felt outdated. The website felt very outdated, and I said it was kind of the briefing at the time, that the look and feel of the company and the logo, that this company is a family-owned small business here in Central Florida. So it was kind of directed to show, like, okay, we are a small business, family business here in Florida. So everything looked like okay, I have a friend that does this thing called internet, and he can design the logo and the website for me, and it felt like that at the time. And I always, like, that was the first thing I wanted to change from the beginning, and it took me almost a year, or around a year, to get it done.
Your logo is like a tree.
Yes, right now it's like a tree. Yes, and if you see there the dotted lines of a highway in the middle, for example, and all the branches, like the story behind it, it's all the branches, all the ramifications that you can go through life, and there's the dotted lines for the highways. I mean, I have a marketing background, so I literally created this on PowerPoint. Like, I kind of created this, drawn this, and I sent to the agency guys, okay, please execute this in a way that can be displayed on the website, printed on marketing materials, and etc. So
I love that. Now, and it also kind of dives into, when you fast forward after you've done these changes and implemented ways to boost up your marketing, boost up the company the way you want it to be. You fast track now. We're in 2025. AI has taken a huge drive in how we think, what we do. The automated systems now of, geez, I wish I had Canva in 2016, like all of that kind of stuff. But, when we talk about getting the raw data, like, I know there's some moving companies out there where behind me are, 5, 10 different monitors all kind of glued together, all hooked up to different screens. And I can walk up there and I know all the different KPIs that are going on. I know what this department's doing and that department's doing, where this truck is right now. I mean, it's all there for you. Can you talk to me about some of the innovative ways of what you're doing within your company to track, give me some of this. How am I converting a customer fast enough? How am I calling them back? There's, you put together this whole thing. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what you've done, how you did it, and the thought process, and also why?
To begin with, there is still a never there is always, I think, in every business owner's mind, but there is a never ending list of things that we would like to do and that we feel that we are coming short of, right? So I have a never ending list of things that I would like to implement. For example, to have VAs, to have a dialed in process structure. Although I'm 95% there, and I want to make a point about this because I always felt that I didn't have the process, and right now the gap is that, or my deficiency is not I'm enforcing it enough, I would say. But I have everything on ChatGPT. So instead of having a trainual or having something that works like a trainual or Google Docs or etc. with the process, any employee can just type on the screen, just like as they are talking natural language with the ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT, how can I run payroll? And then it breaks down. Okay, you go here, you pull this report, you add the hours, multiply some with add the tips, and then you go to ADP and input the hours there. And here's the login and password for ADP, blah blah. So it breaks down all the process in natural language, just as if you're talking with ChatGPT, which is amazing.
Can we just define this for the people that are listening? Because, everybody listening for the first 20 minutes goes, all right, I can totally relate here with Felipe. And then now in the last 60 seconds, they're like, whoa, you guys are going way over my head. Like, we got to slow this thing down here. You guys are going fast track. Just so that everybody understands, you utilize ChatGPT for all your stuff, but are you creating your own GPT with a back end knowledge so that in the knowledge portion of it, you have implemented all of your SOPs, all of your information, so that when someone in your staff goes on here, they are going into Cento Moving's GPT?
Yes, correct.
Okay, let's just. I know what you're
Cool.
talking about.
Yeah.
I do that within our company, but I want to make sure people understand that. Going like, wow, I can do this on ChatGPT, and it's that's the idea or logic behind it.
And I didn't do this personally. I hired somebody to do it, and if anybody's interested, just hit me up online. But I can refer. But I had to hire somebody to do it. But basically, what ChatGPT offers, besides being the amazing tool that we all know, like we all know how to do it, how to use it, but it gives you the opportunity to build your own GPT. And in my case, it's of course behind a login and password. So an employee has a login and password that to access it. But it's basically you upload your company documents, and in this case, your 50-page PDF or Word doc of all your processes. You upload it on to ChatGPT, and it transforms it into natural language, so anybody can go there, ask a question, and get an answer step by step of what to do. What do they need to know? What's when is payday, or what's the dress code? What's the truck maintenance schedule, and etc. So it's all natural language that anybody can go in there and ask. So that's basically something that ChatGPT does that most people is not aware of it, but it can be done, and without much sophistication, it can be done, which is really cool. I mean, I think it's a lot better than having a document that then nobody will ever access it. And so, yes, that's something that.
Well, don't just trail off here. That was just that's part one. All right, you want me to repeat some of these questions for you? Actually, you know what? Let's flip up and take a break. you've explained ChatGPT, guys. For those listening, that is a huge tool, and I recommend, if you don't know how to do that for yourself, and how to make one of those GPTs, definitely reach out to Felipe. We'll have his contact details, DM him, and this way at least he can get you coordinated with someone that you can find that can build it. But let's kind of just jump back to the moving world, in a sense. In the last 9 years that you've been in it, tell me one of like the craziest stories that you've had in the moving industry, on like whether it's on a move, or with your guys. Let's share one of your wild moving stories.
Well, of course, the ones that pop up to mind most easily, I would say, are the bad ones, right? But
Well, those are the ones we want to hear.
yes, but so I once had a truck, for example. I once had a truck break down in 100 miles away. So the truck was down, and it was getting dark, and the movers, and I told the guys, okay, I'm again, you're having dinner with your family, and all of a sudden a phone call, and your day changes, right? Your day, your week, your month changes. And okay, truck broke down. It's not going anywhere. Okay, I'm gonna set up either a tow or a mobile mechanic to get there as fast as I can, but stay there, right? Next thing I know, the wife of one of the movers had used to drive for Uber, and she left Orlando as an Uber, like charging the Uber, her personal Uber account, to get all the movers, and the movers basically abandoned the truck 100 miles away. And next thing I know, they're coming back to Orlando, and the next day the lady wanted to charge me for the Uber ride. She gave my employees that were supposed to stay with the truck until the tow truck come, and so that's a funny one. Like, of course, it's a bad one, but other like interesting ones, and for I think it's common for everybody that has storage, that offers storage services. But I've had storage people in storage here for 4, 5, 6 years, and that's paid way much more than what the furniture is worth. There's no logical reason for the client to stay here for such a long time, but they are, and we talk regularly. Sometimes, like, we got to increase prices, we got to raise prices, or change a credit card number. How's everything? Everything is great. How's my stuff? Your stuff is great. And keep moving on. And that's one of particular things in the industry that doesn't resonate with me. Like, okay, why are you keeping that stuff for so long? And you probably pay 10 times more than that what your furniture is worth right by now, but they're still paying on time. And okay, I'm with you. They'll be here. They'll be safe.
Well, yeah, we have customers that are in our storage for, I think, like 20 years. They're almost like 20, 25 years. And it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever think of. That I think we had a customer in the summertime. Yeah, I think it was around the summertime, where the kids called us because the parents had stuff in storage. One lived, I think, down in California. The other person, I think, lived in Toronto, the children. And they were calling because the parents had passed away, or, one and then the other one, but they were still paying for storage. It had been, I don't know, like 20 years in storage. And they were finally trying to figure out what was all in storage that they were paying two storage vaults for this long. And they open it up, and it was like, I think it was her baby crib, like from when she was a child. Now she was like, in her 40s, like an old dresser, a couch that probably should have never been put in storage, and like 10 boxes of random stuff, like things that are worth
Right.
nothing. And then like a bunch of other stuff. I think it was like miscellaneous, side table, and just everything just so dated, things that no one needed, no one cared, but to them, it meant the world to keep
Yeah,
everything,
absolutely.
right? So,
And that's the case.
It's crazy, but hey, it's good
It
for
is
our
good for
business,
business.
right? It's
Yes,
good
it
for
pays
our business, so
bills.
it's
Yeah.
perfect. That we talked about the ChatGPT. What are you doing? You had shared something actually in one of the Facebook groups about this new way of tracking from job leads, like that whole customer acquisition.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest stress points, I think, as business owners, especially in this industry we have when we're in a service industry, that know that customer is going to quickly, boom, I'm phoning the next guy. Oh, no answer. I'll
Next
phone
guy.
the next person. We're so fast paced. It's exactly what we do when we're scrolling Instagram. It's what we do on TikTok. It's what we do more often than we like to believe, how fast we are, and the lack of loyalty, or sometimes even just the lack of information we're willing to learn and digest and actually research on before making a
Yes.
choice, because we're just happy that someone answered the phone. So, can you walk us through what you developed, what you've done, what tools you use to build it, and why is it so important, especially going in for 2025?
Again, because of my background, uh, I was never satisfied with any reporting solution of any CRM software that I ever tried or explored or got a sales pitch from, etc., including the one I currently use. I use Smart Moving now, and I'm pretty happy with it. And I don't blame them for the lack of information they provide on reports, because I haven't found a better one. But to me, the reporting tools, again, from any CRM that I've seen in the past, they don't work. They don't give me the information that I need, right? So they simply don't, right? And then when I'm and because of my background, uh, uh, I had access to some extraordinary tools and people and strategies. And when you become a senior manager in a Fortune 200 company, like you have access to kind of stuff that we are as small business owners, we don't, right? And frameworks, the way you work, etc. And I said, okay. And I kept I always done that. I kept accessing all the reports from every CRM that I tested. And I said, okay, this doesn't help me at all, right? The data that the there is an insane amount of data that we store that's stored in our CRMs, right? So the CRMs, they have an amazing ability to record stuff, but all or most of them, they have a really hard time on ways to present this in ways that can drive decisions, right? And to me, again, because of my history, I mean, data is something that doesn't tell anything. Data must be processed to become information that can provide context, that can communicate efficiently, and ultimately drive better decision making processes in your company and for you as a business owner, right? And I always had the mindset, okay, any decision that I ever make, it must be to sell more or to sell more stuff to more people for more money, more often, and more efficiently, right? So it inevitably falls in any one of these places, right? So if I want to sell, and the thing I posted online, it was an analysis of speed to first contact, and it is something that Smart Moving offers in one report that it's not even called that. It's called lost leads and opportunity details, but it's there, time to first contact, in a column. And I said, okay, so what if how important it is to contact this leads quickly enough. And it happens that my company is not that important because the way my business work, it's we rely mostly on repeat referral, and we have an amazing source of a lead source that it should be a case like a marketing case, because we sponsor a radio show for 10 years, and there is a live read of our ad every morning. So it actually helps to build the brand. So it's kind of a trusted referral. So we convert a lot more than Google from those sources and everything. So it's most of the leads that we get, they're not price shopping. They are coming to us because they know us, right? but I did the same for 2 or 3 other companies, and I bumped with another company that they have a conversion rate of the low 30s%, right? From every lead that comes in, even the bad ones and etc. They convert about 30, low 30s. But when they reach out to this customer within 2 hours, which is not exactly like boiling pressure 5-minute thing, like, okay, I have 2 hours to reach this guy. The average was 45% of the leads, right? So from 32, 31 to 45, that's 40% more. Imagine if you have the opportunity to work on a problem in your company that can generate 40% more revenue. And the only thing you have to do, you don't have to invest more in marketing or anything. The only thing you have to do is to figure out a way to reach out to these customers, to these leads in 2 hours, because they'll increase your average conversion to 45%.
Hi, I'm Mark Hirschi with Salmon's Moving and Storage. Today, I want to talk about Tighten Up training. Why? Because this is Netflix grade quality training. It's not those old videos and VHSs that you got hiding in your office somewhere. It's online, it's easy to use, they're short videos, but they get to the point. My new employees, these guys run through these training programs, there's tests at the end, and they're coming out going, oh, I'm ready to rock. So if you haven't checked out Tighten Up training yet, get a demo done. Get on board. Guess what else is there? Online portals for my sales staff. Can you believe it? These guys can learn how to overcome objections and book more leads today. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Tighten Up training today.
Hi everyone, it's your favorite mover, Austin Yarbrough, and welcome to my school. The school is named Moving Army because it's inspired by Andy Elliott's team, and we've got some amazing changes coming for the moving industry, and I can't wait to work with you. In this school, we will be doing a 100-day fitness challenge. Wow. So what this means is we are going to be working out for 45 minutes minimum physical activity for 100 straight days. Stay tuned for more information and let's get moving.
Did you do different times though? Like, did you test out?
I did,
Okay.
and like 5 brackets, 5 time bins, or 7, 8 time bins. And look, 0 to 5 minutes, 5 minutes to 30 minutes, 30 minutes to 2 hours. But it's amazing to see.
And what did you find? What were the answers? What did you find was the most efficient in a sense of
So
conversion
it varies.
for callback?
It varies by business, right? So like I was saying, my company, I don't rely much on being the first to call. But if I'm buying leads, if I'm a company that I'm buying leads from, I don't know, I used to have Angie's List.
Yep.
I even forgot the names of the lead providers that are over there, but so many of them, right? Billy or whatever. If you're getting a lead and 5 other companies are getting the same lead at the same time, you must be the first one to call, right? So if you want to get jobs, you got to be the first one to call. Luckily, I don't. But this other company that I've seen, their biggest lead source was Google Ads, right? And still, Google Ads, they're people are mostly price shopping. And so if he was not returning under 2 hours, his average was dropping to the 20s, right? So he was converting less than 30% of the jobs. Whereas if they were calling under 2 hours, it's 45%.
So a good rule of thumb is basically what you're saying is make sure when these leads are coming in, you are having a callback of under 2
For
hours.
that company.
Anything above
Yeah.
2 hours for that particular company, for sure. And it's gonna vary, obviously. How did you build this? What were you tracking? Was there like a certain program that you used where you're plugging in the phone call? Like, how is this being managed?
For this specific thing, the only thing I'm using are the reports provided by Smart Moving, right? So I download a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, but the tool, of course, like the behind the curtains, it's all done in Python with one of the modules they have. So it's all programming. And well, during COVID, I was bored a little bit, and so I refreshed my computer science knowledge. And so I took a data analytics course, a certificate, and then I dug deep into Python, and of course with ChatGPT helping you, like, hey, ChatGPT, here's the code. Like, it's giving me an error. What's wrong with it? Can you help me figure this out? And it does, right? And then bumping head, and then I come with this thing that basically my goal was always to bridge the gap between what I know that can be done because I've seen in the past, and I know as a business owner, like what's the information that I want to see that will help me drive better decisions for my business. And and so the gap there exists from the reports that I'm seeing on my screen to I know I can get. And another aspect, for example, and that's my business, not someone else's business, but I found out, I didn't know until I finished this, but leads that come from realtors in my business convert 3 times better or more than the ones that come from Google. And the jobs are twice the size. So a lead that comes from a realtor in my area is basically worth 6 times more than a lead that comes from Google.
So make sure you're out there networking and smooching with
Exactly.
all the realtors in
Exactly.
your market.
So guess where my marketing, any new marketing dollars are going this year in 2025. I'll be strengthening my relationship with realtors, because instead of pouring money on Google, trying to, even if it generates a decent ROI, why should I pour money on Google if I can apply the same amount of money on strengthening relationship with realtors and have 6 times better leads than or leads that are 6 times better than the ones coming from Google, right? And that I can sell at a better price. I can sell more money and more often, more efficiently, and etc. Again, I didn't know that until a week ago.
Are you using Python as well too to help design or develop a way to also track which division within your company, whether it's storage, whether it's a local move, whether it is, restoration work, delivery work, whatever types of division you have with your company, to find out which is going to bring you the most revenue, so that you can go back and go, wait a second, guys, I'm pushing you to say, hey, we need more local moves, but in reality, our profit is actually in XYZ, and we should be pushing that a lot more because the margins are better. Are you using the reports from Smart Moving and building that also within Python? Like, what are you using to find out and differentiate what has the better revenue
Yeah,
stream?
short answer is yes. And a good rule of thumb is that if the information is anywhere in any report that you can see there on your screen, that means you can very much likely cross that and correlate that with different reports and turn that into valuable information that can drive decisions, right? So if you are a business owner that you track those internally in Smart Moving, yes, that can be something that can be turned into something relevant, or a report or an analysis that can actually drive good decision making, instead of throwing a bunch of numbers on the screen and have you figured out what to do with that, right? And one good thing that I'm looking at right now is that I can do. I'm looking at sales by zip code, and there is a report, sales by zip code, in Smart Moving, but that doesn't help much. But I didn't know until, again, 2 weeks ago, that I had a couple of zip codes that I was converting jobs at over 75% of the leads that came from those 2 zip codes. I get 75% of the jobs. So what the hell I'm doing so right in these areas? What is my dream scenario that's happening in these areas, and if I can find like sweet spots like that in my area, that I can replicate what I'm doing. Because if I know, okay, that could be demographics or families with 2 kids on average, or home values over $500,000, those are my sweet spot. And next thing I'll do is I'll call USA Home Listings and say, okay, I want to filter everything in that area, that zip code, for that home value, for that amount, and I want to blast, like I want to laser focus on the things I know. Like I have a good example that I'm converting 75% of the leads that come in from that area. So no report from any software.
Yeah, and I love how all of it can kind of work. It works together, right? The fact that you can utilize smart moving, you can utilize, your direct mail outs with USA Home Listings, track, figure out. You are trying to pinpoint where you're going to get the most
Exactly.
return.
And again, like every decision is how to make more money. It's either through selling to more people for more money more often and more efficiently, right? So every decision should be to somewhat in that aspect. Not all decisions are that, but to make more money.
Is this application that you've created shareable? Are you selling it? For those that are listening going, man, this sounds awesome. And I'd love to try and build these reports. How can someone take what you've built and utilize this within their
So
company?
what I'm working right now, there is a second company that is on, let's say, stealth mode right now, and it's not ready. It's not out there. There's no website or anything like that. I do wanna, once I'm ready to step a little more out of the day-to-day of the moving company, I do wanna invest more time into that. But from scratch, what I'm doing here is I'm making sure is that I can replicate what I'm doing here with other companies.
So if someone messages you and says, "Hey, man, this sounds awesome. Is there a way that you could replicate this for me?" And you say, "Sure, no problem. I can definitely do that for you. And I also want a lot of money."
Yes. Well, because I'm starting, I'm not even looking for a lot of money. I'm sure just a little money for the start, because I know everything that we are starting.
Can we start a GoFundMe page here for Felipe, and let's get
Yeah,
this
let's
program
get
working?
this started, right?
I think it's fantastic, and it's great for others to know that there is something like this that you've taken the time to build, and there's an option that you have, if you have time, to kind of share and put them or guide them into the right direction
Yes.
on how to make this so they can pull these kind of reports and learn what's working for them in their area as well too. Felipe, I'm moving to Orlando, Florida, and we run into each other at a elevator going into a restaurant, and we're sharing the elevator together. And I say, "Oh, look at that. Cento Moving in Orlando. I'm looking for a mover." And I say, "Okay, buddy, you got 45 seconds before the elevator goes ding and we arrive at the restaurant. Sell me. Why would I want to work with you as opposed to the number one moving company in Orlando for 2024? Don't give me that differentiate, but you tell me, like, why would I want to work with you? You got 45
Great.
seconds.
So, well, Cento Moving is a fully licensed and insured family-owned business in Orlando. So we're not part of a big group or a franchise or anything like that. But we have all things in place, right? So we are one of the few companies our size with fully licensed and insured. We can provide COIs for anywhere, any type of customers, and we can do jobs as little or as large as needed. So we have the resources. We are national, so we can go everywhere in the U.S. So we have the license and insured to go out of state. So we have an MC number. Again, everything is transparent over the table, and we are small enough. One thing that I always say is that we are small enough to care, right? So any customer, doesn't matter if it's an apartment to an apartment locally, a small move, we are small enough to care. So if there's an issue with that job, sometimes I go visit that job, and randomly I go revisit jobs. If I'm driving around from a meeting to another or giving an estimate to a client here, and I know there's a job nearby, I randomly stop by. So that's the thing you can get from a small company that you can't from a larger company. And most of the companies our size are not prepared to give that quality service level that we can, right? And we are prepared and equipped to provide any sort of moving services to basically anyone. So that's our differentiation.
Nice. I like it. Longer than 45 seconds,
Yes,
though.
I'm sorry.
But I like it.
I'm
It
a
was
talker.
good.
Sorry.
You better work on that. That's totally fine. Felipe, this has been great. I really hope this has been informative to
Thank
everybody
you.
that's been listening today. I think, if you can learn the skills and you can apply them or find the people that can do it. I'll never
Yes.
forget, meeting a moving company owner once, and he says, I am the best delegator you've ever met. If I don't know how to do something, I find someone who does and I make it happen. And it's the only way I've been able to grow the size that I am. And I find that so inspiring because I'm also the type of person that just wants to wear all the hats and do it all myself, and have learned to be a good delegator. And if you want to understand these tools, reach out to Felipe.
Thank you, guys.
His information will be in there. We're all over. You can't miss us. Movified's on YouTube. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's on every feed that you can think of. And we want you to share your comments. Share some of your stories. If this is something that is working for you, or if you are using a different type of Python tool application that you've built, utilizing ChatGPT, utilizing reports, and it's benefiting your moving company and you want to share it, send us a message. We'd love to find out some more on how that can help other moving companies in the area, all across North America or the world. And for all those listeners, stay movified. Thanks so much, Felipe. It's been a pleasure.